It's a little bit ironic, however. My own mother told me years later that she was surprised when I myself graduated from 8th grade. Those were the years where I was into juggling and unicycling, and I still like those things. But she thought I was going to join the circus, honestly. So sometimes I wonder what they were expecting to hear tonight, whether they were going to demonstrate something interesting, or I don't know what they thought they were going to get when they asked me. But in order to appease their desires, I did bring along an instrument. I brought along a flute. So I'm going to play the flute, just to get this part out of the way. It's called the nose flute. Let's just do a little bit of this, so we can get the interesting part out of the way and get the serious stuff. Oh, here we go. I think that's enough. That's not an instrument that you want to share. That's just personal, just yours. The air does come from your nose. All right. So, I was wondering, what is graduation all about? Because, after all, you don't really stop going to school. I mean, you keep going, like the 9th grade. It's just, consecutively numbers go from 8 to 9, right? So, what is graduation all about in the 8th grade, after all? You know, some countries have a rite of passage. They have a coming of age. We probably know that the Jewish culture has the bar mitzvahs. And I just found out that, at least according to some information online, is that the girls occurs at age 12, while the boys occur at age 13. And I think we can all understand why the boys are a little later. Wasn't intended to be funny, it's just a fact of the matter. In Latin America, they have a celebration at the age of 15, and that's called Quinceanera. How'd I do? Great, thank you. So, in the United States, we don't have those kind of parties, but we do have 8th grade graduation, and that's what I see it as. This is a ceremony that says you are no longer a child. Isn't that great? Yes. This is our ceremony. This is the transition from childhood to adulthood. In the Bible, we see examples of 12-year-olds. Of course, Jesus was 12 and he was in the temple. And we have examples where at age 12, you stop being a child. You have to put away childish things. But there's really, in my opinion, and some things I've read, is that you only have 3 stages of life. You have childhood, you have young adulthood, and you have senior adulthood. You guys are moving into young adulthood. So this is what the ceremony, to me, is all about. You're moving away from dependency on your teachers and from your parents. You're starting to have to practice some independence. You're moving toward independence. As you do, I would like to just share some practical advice. You all have a pen that works and a 3x5 card. Great. So throughout the service here, I'll ask you to write some things down because I want you to ponder some thoughts that I want to share with you. Don't write these down. These are just silly ones. I especially like sayings, especially if they are a cliche that's kind of turned backward and just kind of makes fun of it. So here's some that hopefully this will be something that Wyndham likes. He says I have a good sense of humor. Some people might think that. So here's one. You know what they say, where there's a will, I want to be in it. Now think about this one. Time flies like an arrow, and fruit flies like a banana. That one's usually delayed. And this one, I shouldn't tell my children this, so they're not here tonight, but I'll tell you all. They say 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 lefts do. I'll say that again just in case you missed it. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 lefts do. You're learning that in driving when you can't turn right. You turn left 3 times. Okay, So here are some things you can write down. They are going to be things that you're going to, sometimes these are firsts. As a young adult, these will be firsts. You'll experience many firsts at this point in your life. So write this down. And write small, so you can fit it on this little card. To be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late. And I learned just this last part about 3 days ago from somebody. To be late is to be fired. It's true. I've looked up some research on this, and that's the number one reason. That's why you will lose your job, is if you're late or if you consistently call in sick. So it's very simple. If you like your job, you want to keep it, it might be just as simple as coming on time regularly. So write that down. To be early is to be on time is to be late, and to be late is to be fired. So be punctual. Write this one down. Failure is success if we learn from it. You could also write, if you like this better, you could say failure is success if you grow from it. You know, if you learn to soak your reed in your mouth before you play the saxophone, and you learn that lesson, then you have success. Just keep the reed wet. It'll dry out sitting back over there. So, in this part of your life, you might experience your first rejection. And I'm talking about like if you try out for a band, or if you try out for a choir, if you try out for gymnastics or a sports team, you might be rejected. But don't give up. If it helps you grow, then you've been successful. And God has allowed that experience to make you stronger. So don't give up. You don't have to write this one down, but it's an interesting thought. It says, if you've never failed, then you've never tried. So allow yourself to fail. Do something that you might not succeed and grow from it. Well, I hate to say it, but you're probably going to go on your first date in the next few years. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. I'm sure you think about that enough. But boys, just write this down. Ladies first. That's just a simple one for you to remember. Let them talk first. Open the door for them. Think about them before you think about yourself. And also write down this word, man. Chivalry. Chivalry. And if you don't know what it means, just go ahead and look it up. Practice chivalry around the ladies. And girls, write this down. Don't be kissing the boys. It's also scary when a student comes back that you've known from a child and they say, hey, look what I've got. I've got a driver's license. That's always the scariest thing. And, so I want you to remember that an automobile will likely be the most deadly weapon that you will ever wield. And it's kind of a pun. Wield. It's a weapon. But seriously, I want you to, yes, you got it. Great. It is deadly. And this is a very important thing. I want you to write this one down. It's better to be careful. Go ahead, Ryan. Better be careful 1,000 times than to die once. I think we've all experienced the misfortune of somebody having their life taken from an automobile. So as you move into this stage of your life, be careful with your driving. This also might be a time when you are, first time that you're extensively away from your parents for maybe a long time. Maybe you're in the dorm, or maybe you're on a mission trip, or maybe you're just hanging out with your friends a lot. So just stay close to your parents. This saying doesn't directly go to this, but it does have to do with it. Write this down. If you fool me once, shame on you. If you fool me twice, shame on me. You don't have to make the same mistakes over and over again. It's okay to make them once, but if you can learn from your parents, they can keep you from making these mistakes that maybe they've made. So stay close to your parents. I remember my mom.